In the endless dark of space, a colossal structure floated silently. It was ancient, older than most stars, its surface glowing faintly with alien symbols. This was the Galactic Council Citadel, where leaders of many powerful species gathered. Inside its great hall, hundreds of alien beings sat in tense silence. Their voices had been loud moments ago, but now, fear had silenced them. A holographic map hovered above the center table, showing planets marked in red, worlds recently destroyed by a force none of them could stop. An alien with long silver tendrils raised its trembling arms. "We are losing system after system," it said, voice echoing across the chamber. "The Dominion spreads faster than we ever imagined. If we do not act now, there will be nothing left to save." Another alien, with 4 glowing eyes, hissed, "Our armies have failed. Our weapons are useless. The Dominion does not negotiate, it consumes." Murmurs of despair filled the hall. Entire civilizations had already vanished. If the Dominion reached the core worlds, even the oldest and strongest species would fall. Finally, the High Chancellor, a tall figure with crystalline skin, stood. His voice was deep and commanding. "Then we must seek help beyond our worlds. Legends speak of warriors scattered across the stars, ancient species who once fought for freedom. We will summon them." The room fell silent. No one had used the beacon for centuries. It was a desperate move, a call to anyone who might answer. A call for champions. The Chancellor raised his hand, and deep beneath the citadel, a massive machine awoke. Its core burned with blinding light as it sent a pulse racing through the galaxy, a signal of hope. Far away, on a small blue planet called Earth, the signal was detected. In a secure underground facility, alarms blared. Technicians scrambled as screens lit up with alien symbols. "Sir, unidentified transmission detected," one officer reported, panic in his voice. It's not from Earth." A stern man with sharp eyes stepped forward. He wore no uniform, only a simple black coat. His presence alone made the room go silent. "Play it," he ordered. The room filled with a strange, echoing voice. It wasn't English, but somehow the message was clear, a request for warriors to fight a galactic threat. The signal ended with a final, urgent plea. The officer swallowed nervously. They're asking for help. For soldiers." The man in black stared at the screen for a long moment, his expression unreadable. "Soldiers," he said quietly, almost amused. "That's not what they're going to get." He turned and walked down a long, dim hallway. As he moved, heavy steel doors opened automatically. Behind each door, figures stood waiting, humans clad in dark armor, their faces hidden behind featureless masks. They stood perfectly still, like statues, but there was a dangerous energy about them, like predators waiting to strike. These were the executioners, Earth's most secret and feared force. They were not trained for war. They were trained for extermination. The man in black, known only as Commander Harlow, stopped before them. "You've heard the call," he said, his voice cold and sharp. "Somewhere out there, aliens are begging for heroes. But we are not heroes. We are the final answer." The executioners remained silent. They didn't need to speak. They understood their purpose. "A new galaxy, untouched, unprepared," Harlow continued. "They think they called soldiers to fight for them. They don't know they've invited us to their doorstep." He paused, letting the weight of his words sink in. "You will go. You will finish their enemy, and then, you will decide what happens next." One of the masked executioners tilted their head slightly, acknowledging the order. The rest remained perfectly still. Above Earth, a black ship waited in orbit. Its design was sharp and menacing, built for speed and terror. Unlike the proud warships of alien empires, this vessel had no bright colors, no banners. Only a small red insignia painted near the hull, a skull with wings. As the executioners boarded, the ship powered up silently. No transmissions were sent, no farewell messages given. This was not a mission for glory. It was a mission for silence. Back on the Citadel, the alien council prepared for their savior's arrival. They imagined noble warriors arriving to fight alongside them, to save their worlds. Celebrations were already being planned. The High Chancellor spoke to his people, his voice filled with hope. Soon, our allies will arrive. The tide will turn. The Dominion will fall, and our galaxy will be safe once more. But far away, on the dark ship hurtling toward them, the executioners sat in silence. Their weapons gleamed under red lights. Their breathing was steady, cold, inhumanly calm. In the quiet of the ship, Commander Harlow spoke at last. "Remember," he said to his team. "No witnesses. No mercy." The ship vanished into hyperspace, leaving Earth behind. The signal had been answered, but not by the heroes the galaxy had hoped for. And somewhere, deep in the alien council halls, a war was about to begin, one they could never have imagined. The alien citadel floated in silent darkness, a shining beacon of hope. On its surface, banners were raised, lights were lit, and thousands of beings gathered. They had waited for days, believing that any moment now, help would come. High Chancellor Valen stood at the edge of the grand balcony, gazing at the stars. His crystalline skin glimmered softly under the citadel's lights. Behind him, council members whispered nervously. "Are you certain they will come, Chancellor?" one asked, his 4 eyes flickering with doubt. Valen nodded firmly, hiding his own unease. "The beacon never fails. Somewhere in the galaxy, warriors heard our call. They will come, and with them, salvation." But even as he spoke, a thin shadow of doubt crept into his mind. He had expected some kind of reply, a message, a sign. Instead, there had been only silence, until now. A shrill alarm echoed through the hall. Technicians rushed to their stations. "Incoming vessel detected," a voice cried. "Unidentified configuration. Approach vector locked on the citadel." The crowd erupted into cheers. Relief and excitement washed over the gathered species. "See," Valen said, lifting his arms. "Our allies have arrived." The holographic display showed a dark, sharp-edged ship emerging from hyperspace. It had no markings of peace, no banners of alliance. Its design was unlike anything the Council had seen, angular, predatory, and disturbingly silent. A few council members shifted uncomfortably. "That does not look like a warrior ship," one murmured. Another frowned. "It carries no identification code. Why would they hide their signal?" But Valen silenced them with a raised hand. "Different cultures, different traditions," he said quickly. "Do not judge by appearances. They are here to help." The dark ship slid into the Citadel's docking bay with eerie precision. No music played, no greetings were exchanged. The massive doors opened with a low hiss. From the mist stepped the humans. There were only 10 of them, but they filled the space with a presence so heavy it made the air seem colder. They wore full black armor, smooth and featureless, their faces hidden behind dark masks. No symbols were displayed, no names, no ranks, only a small red insignia of a winged skull on each shoulder. The alien crowd fell silent. They had expected shining heroes, brave warriors ready to inspire hope. Instead, these beings stood still and silent, like statues carved from shadow. One alien diplomat swallowed nervously and stepped forward. "Welcome, noble warriors," he said, voice trembling slightly. "We are honored that you have answered our call. We face a terrible enemy. Our worlds are burning. Please, allow us to." The tallest human raised a hand, silencing him instantly. The gesture was calm, almost polite, but it carried an edge of command that froze everyone in place. The human leader spoke at last. His voice was cold, steady, and strangely emotionless. "Show us where to go." The translator drones repeated his words, and the chamber filled with confused murmurs. The aliens had prepared speeches, celebrations, even rituals of welcome, but the humans wanted none of it. Chancellor Valen forced a smile and gestured toward the council chamber. "Of course. Please, follow us. We will show you everything." The humans walked in perfect formation, silent, disciplined. Their boots struck the metal floor in unison, a sound sharp and unnerving in the vast hall. As the group traveled deeper into the citadel, some council members began to notice strange details. The humans never removed their helmets. They did not eat, drink, or rest. Even their movements seemed unnatural, too precise, too controlled. When the council explained the enemy's strength, showing images of destroyed planets and fleets, the humans simply watched in silence. Their body language never shifted, their masked faces never revealed emotion. Finally, Chancellor Valen finished his presentation. "We believe the Dominion's next target is here," he said, pointing to a glowing planet on the map. "We have prepared defensive fleets, but they will not hold without your aid. Will you fight beside us?" The human leader tilted his head slightly, as if considering. Then he spoke a single word: "Yes." The Chancellor exhaled with relief. Around the table, council members cheered. For the first time in months, hope returned. But one young alien technician was not celebrating. While monitoring the humans' private communications, he had accidentally tuned into a strange, encrypted channel. At first, it was only static. Then, slowly, words began to form. The technician froze as he heard the chilling message. No witnesses. No mercy. No survivors. His tendrils trembled. He replayed the message, hoping he was mistaken, but the words were clear. The humans were not here as allies. He rushed to warn the Chancellor, but as he reached the doorway, one of the masked humans turned its head sharply, as if it had heard him. Its black visor locked on him for a brief, terrifying moment. The technician froze. Then, slowly, the human turned back toward the council, saying nothing. The young alien backed away, his heart pounding. He didn't dare speak a word. Not yet. Later, in the docking bay, the humans prepared their weapons. Blades, rifles, explosives, all of them sleek, deadly, and far beyond alien technology. They checked their gear with quiet efficiency, speaking in low, coded phrases. From a distance, two alien guards watched uneasily. "They do not act like warriors," one whispered. "They do not pray, they do not sing battle songs. They are too calm." The other nodded nervously. Maybe that is their strength. But deep inside, both felt the same creeping fear. These were not saviors. They were something far, far worse. The dark ship lifted off once again, carrying the humans toward the battlefield. The aliens cheered as they departed, believing hope had finally come. Only the young technician remained silent, his mind replaying that haunting phrase. No witnesses. No mercy. No survivors. And he wondered, trembling, if the galaxy had just welcomed its own doom. The Dominion fleet floated like a dark storm above the planet Varys, its warships blocking out the stars. Below, the once beautiful world burned. Cities were reduced to ashes, and the surface was scarred by deep, black craters. Hidden behind a nearby moon, the alien council's fleet waited nervously. Hundreds of ships hovered in formation, trembling like prey ready to flee. Inside the command ship, Chancellor Valen and his council stared at the view screen, fear etched into every movement. "This is our last chance," Valen said, his voice shaking. "If the Dominion holds Varys, the core worlds will fall next." One of the council generals, a massive, armored alien with tusks, spoke urgently. "Our fleets will support the humans. Once they weaken the enemy, we will strike." Valen nodded, clinging to the hope that these mysterious human warriors truly were the saviors they seemed. On the view screen, the human ship emerged from the shadows. It glided forward without signal or warning, moving like a predator closing in on its prey. The alien generals expected a battle plan, some communication, anything to coordinate their forces. But the humans said nothing. "Should we hail them?" an officer asked hesitantly. Valen frowned. "No. Let us trust their methods. They are warriors beyond our understanding." Inside the dark human ship, the executioners prepared for war. No battle cries. No speeches. Only silence and the cold, methodical sound of weapons being checked. Commander Harlow stood at the front, his mask reflecting the red glow of the ship's interior. "First strike," he said calmly through the comms. "Maximum damage. No hesitation." A low, unified response came from the others. "Confirmed." The ship's hull opened, releasing a swarm of small, black drop pods. They shot toward the Dominion fleet like meteors. The pods slammed into enemy ships with terrifying precision, cutting through hulls and exploding from the inside. Entire cruisers burst apart in seconds. The Alien Council gasped in awe as they watched the impossible attack unfold. "By the stars," one whispered. "They fight like gods." But what followed was no divine act, it was slaughter. The executioners boarded the Dominion's flagship. The corridors filled with smoke and screams as the humans moved like shadows, cutting down every enemy they encountered. Their weapons made no sound, only quick, deadly flashes of light. Dominion soldiers tried to fight back, but the humans were too fast, too precise. Where a normal army might take prisoners, the executioners left only silence and blood. One Dominion officer dropped his weapon and fell to his knees. "Mercy!" he cried in a guttural voice. "Please, mercy!" A human stepped forward and aimed his weapon at the officer's head. "Negative," he said flatly, then pulled the trigger. Back in the command ship, the Alien Council watched the live feed with growing unease. At first, they had cheered. Now, the room was quiet. Too quiet. The humans weren't just defeating the Dominion, they were erasing them. Entire enemy ships went dark within minutes. No survivors. No escape pods. Nothing. Valen's crystalline hands trembled. Why are they not leaving anyone alive for questioning? No one answered. Even the generals, who had once begged for this kind of strength, now stared in silent horror. One council member finally spoke in a hushed voice. "Chancellor, are these truly our allies? Or are they something worse?" On the Dominion flagship, Commander Harlow stood amid the carnage. His armor was splattered with alien blood, his movements calm and deliberate. "Report," he said. "Sector cleared," one executioner replied. "No survivors. Preparing detonation charges." "Proceed," Harlow ordered. As his team spread out to plant explosives, Harlow activated a private comm channel. His voice dropped to a chilling whisper. "Primary target neutralized. Preparing for secondary target." From deep within his helmet, a distorted voice replied. "Secondary target confirmed. Witness species to be terminated." Back on the command ship, alarms suddenly blared. "Chancellor!" a young technician shouted. "Intercepted transmission. It's them. They just changed objectives." Valen spun around, fear in his crystalline eyes. "What did they say?" The technician's voice cracked as he repeated it. "They're not done. The humans, they're coming for us next." Gasps filled the chamber. Some council members screamed in disbelief, others began shouting orders in panic. "Impossible!" a general roared. "They came to help us." But before anyone could respond, the feed from the battlefield changed. The image of Dominion destruction was replaced by a new sight, the human ship, turning toward the Council fleet. No, this cannot be," Valen whispered. "The humans didn't slow down. They didn't signal. They simply advanced, weapons hot and engines burning." Suddenly, the humans' private channel crackled to life on the Council's main screen. Commander Harlow's cold, emotionless voice filled the hall. "You called for soldiers," he said. There was a pause, heavy and terrible. "But we are executioners." The transmission cut off. The Alien Council erupted into chaos. Ships scrambled to form defensive lines, commanders screamed orders, and panic spread like fire. One general turned to Valen, his tusks trembling. "We must retreat. They will kill us all." But before Valen could answer, the first blast hit. The humans had fired, not at the Dominion, but at their supposed allies. In the confusion, The young technician from earlier backed into the shadows. His heart pounded as realization struck. The greatest threat to the galaxy was not the Dominion. It was the very force they had invited into their home. As explosions rocked the fleet, he whispered the human's chilling words to himself, a hopeless prayer in the chaos. No witnesses. No mercy. No survivors. The citadel shook violently as explosions tore through the docking bays. Alien ships tried to scatter, but they were no match for the humans' precision. The executioners moved like a storm, cold, unstoppable, merciless. From the command deck, Chancellor Valen watched in horror as entire sections of the fleet vanished in bursts of fire. His voice cracked as he shouted into the comms. All units, fall back. Defend the citadel at all costs. But it was useless. The humans were already inside. The Grand Hall, once filled with hope and speeches, was now a battlefield. The masked humans entered through shattered doors, moving in perfect formation. Blasters fired wildly as alien guards tried to hold them back, but the executioners cut through them with terrifying efficiency. No hesitation. No wasted motion. Every shot was fatal. Valen clutched a ceremonial staff, his crystalline hands trembling. "Stop this," he screamed. "We called you here to save us, not destroy us." Commander Harlow stepped forward, his black armor gleaming under the flickering lights. The other executioners spread out behind him, silent and watchful. When Harlow spoke, his voice was calm, too calm. "You called for help. You called for warriors. But you didn't understand what you were really asking for." Valen staggered back, confusion and fear twisting his face. We summoned soldiers to fight the Dominion. Why are you doing this?" Harlow tilted his head slightly, almost like a predator studying its prey. "You didn't summon soldiers," he said. "You summoned killers." The room fell silent. Even amidst the chaos, those words seemed to freeze the air. Valen's voice shook. "But why? The Dominion was the enemy, not us." Harlow took a slow step forward. "Long ago, when humanity first reached the stars, we were weak, small, easy to conquer." His voice darkened, each word sharp and precise. "And you did conquer us. Maybe not you personally, maybe not this council, but your kind, the galaxy, saw Earth as a resource, not a partner. You took our people, our worlds, our future." Valen shook his head desperately. "That was centuries ago. The council you see now is not the same." "It doesn't matter," Harlow cut him off, his tone flat and final. "Humans do not forget. We do not forgive." Behind Harlow, the other executioners raised their weapons, their visors glowing faintly red. The sight was terrifying, not rage, not passion, just cold, perfect intent. Valen's voice broke with despair. "So you used the beacon, our call for help, as an excuse to invade?" Harlow's mask tilted slightly, like he was amused. "We didn't need an excuse. But when your signal reached Earth, it was an invitation." He stepped closer, towering over the trembling Chancellor. "You gave us coordinates. You gave us access. You told us exactly where to strike." Valen's breath caught. "No, please, you don't have to do this. We can share power, resources, anything you want. Just stop." Harlow crouched slightly, his masked face inches from Valen's. "We don't want to share." Without warning, Harlow drew a short blade and drove it through the Chancellor's chest. Valen gasped, his crystalline body cracking like glass before collapsing to the floor. The council chamber fell silent except for the steady, calm breathing of the humans. Across the citadel, resistance collapsed. Alien leaders were executed, one by one. Entire fleets were either destroyed or forced to surrender. The galaxy's last hope crumbled in less than a day. On the humans' private channel, a distorted voice spoke through the comms. "Status report." Harlow stood in the center of the ruined hall, surrounded by bodies. "Primary target eliminated," he said evenly. "Secondary target complete." Galaxy command structures neutralized. Understood, the voice replied. Prepare Phase 2. Expansion begins immediately. The surviving aliens, those few who managed to flee, scattered into the outer rim. They didn't understand what they had unleashed. Some still clung to hope that the humans would stop once the Dominion was gone. Others knew the truth. There would be no stopping them. In a small, hidden maintenance tunnel, the young technician, the one who had overheard the humans earlier, watched the destruction through a cracked viewport. His entire body trembled. He whispered to himself, over and over, the words that had haunted him since that first intercepted message. No witnesses. No mercy. No survivors. And now he understood. The humans had never been allies. They had been executioners from the very start. Above the burning citadel, the human ship hovered like a dark omen. Dozens more ships arrived from hyperspace, all bearing the same blood-red insignia of the winged skull. It was no longer a single mission. It was the beginning of a galactic takeover. Inside the lead ship, Commander Harlow opened a secure channel to Earth. A massive hologram flickered to life, showing a shadowy figure back on the homeworld. Report, the figure said. Harlow's voice was calm, almost emotionless. The galaxy is unprepared. The old powers are gone. The Dominion is destroyed. The Council is dead. He paused for a moment, then delivered the final message. The galaxy is ours now. Await further orders. The hologram faded. Harlow turned to the stars, watching as the other human ships spread across the void like a plague. On countless worlds, alien species still celebrated, unaware of the truth. They believed salvation had come. They had no idea that doom was already on its way, wearing the face of humanity. The executioner's ship vanished into hyperspace, leaving only silence and fire in its wake. The signal had been answered. The war for the galaxy had begun. And this time, there would be no witnesses.